Hey, Corina. I just read your reply to my video, so I wanted to respond to something that you mentioned. Sorry, I look like doo-doo. I am getting over this flu, sinus infection slash possible COVID, but I didn't want to go get tested. Um, so, you mentioned, so hopefully you can hear me. That's what I was about to say. You mentioned something about boundaries. I think it was from something that I had discussed too on setting boundaries. And you talked about being a people pleaser, and I used to honestly be the same. Not so much at work. Work, it was pretty easy for me to set boundaries because of time, and just getting my regular duties going, and then it was just easier to say no to things. Um, but it's mostly within my family dynamics, um, with my husband, and my dad, and that side of the family, and all of that stems from really a lot of experiences from growing up. And I'm a middle child, and I have always felt like I am in the middle of everything in my entire life, and so. Uh, I've learned that it's just a coping mechanism to deal with certain stressors, and dealing with people's perceptions of me. Um, and so I've had to learn, and more so in the last few years since having my daughter, um, and needing to set boundaries in certain ways and deal with certain things, and then just being a better person myself, um, being more mentally healthy too, because it's not really healthy to be a people pleaser. It's really not. Um, and so it's very important to find those ways to say no. And I think just as a school counselor, that might be hard, not because of being a people pleaser, but because you want to be helpful as much as you can. But I think definitely with setting those boundaries, in a lot of different situations, setting boundaries with kids, getting them to understand, you want to be open, you want them to come talk to you, and, you have kids come talk to you all the time about things, and, you know, my classroom door, I've got an open door policy. Doesn't matter if you're on my rosters or not, you can come talk to me about anything. Um, but then as a school counselor, you get into that different role. Your role changes a little bit there. And so setting the boundaries of, your job as a counselor with them, and what that means and how you can help them. And that's super important. But then I think the harder part, for me, honestly, and not so much in that I'm going to be asked to do a lot of things that I would normally do. I don't, and I'm thinking just at my school, but like with my administration, um, any duties that they would want me to do, they're not thinking of anything outlandish or anything that would conflict with my job description or my role as a counselor. They're very, they have a very clear understanding of what those roles are and don't abuse those roles, from what I've seen on the outside looking in, and from working with them. But more from the other teachers and, teacher friends. And you have certain teachers, or we do, that feel like they should know everything, or if they come in and request something, you should just automatically do it. It's those kind of boundaries that, I get along well with everyone, and I try to, not expecting everyone to like me, because I know they don't. But as long as they respect me as a coworker, a colleague, and as a counselor, will respect my decision on things, and setting up those limits. That's what's really important there. Um, so, um, so yeah, boundaries are going to be extremely important, um, in our role as counselors. So that's what I wanted to say on the boundaries comment there. So, hope you're having a good week.